Hey, Kat. So I am happy to have you on the stream finally to talk about Historicon because for how many years have you promised as social media director to be on this stream?
Actually never, because I just got
Just
the
got,
position.
I
Nice
knew she was
try.
going to do that to me. No, it's
You
good to have
worded
you
it
on.
very carefully. I applaud you, but I just got
You
the
weaseled
position
out of it.
last.
Nice work.
I got the position last year.
Well, good. So tell us what's going on for social media at Historicon. What's new this year?
Well, we've always done the coverage of the games, but we've moved on to also we have speakers coming for the American Revolution
Right.
theme. So we're going to have coverage there. We're going to be taping some of those for later
Oh,
dissemination.
good.
We also have been focusing on tournaments and making sure that there's coverage outside of the gaming arena, trying to give a better support to our vendors as
Right.
well. Get a lot of footage for doing video because we're moving into that realm as well.
Well, and your team is going to just blend in and not be noticed, not at all with the chartreuse shirt. So
Hey, it's one of the colors that's in the logo. We made a conscious decision to try to
well,
go
it's
with the
good
flow.
because when somebody walks into either one of the presentations or is around your gaming area, you know exactly what they're there for. So when you see the chartreuse shirt, that is the social media team taking photos, video, interviews, and things like that.
Yes.
So that's good to have you guys there.
It's been very well received overall. At first, there was a little bit of pushback. People didn't know why you had the camera out.
Sure.
I did a lot of the work on my phone the first year, so they would see a volunteer in orange and see them on their phone, and they're wondering, well, what is this person doing? And then you explain, hey, I'm here to take pictures for social media.
Right.
That first year we were only doing Twitter with Facebook dumps. Now we've moved on to doing we haven't the Instagram fully reeled
Right.
in, and we've gone from just.
Which, if you want to see photos of me looking very dapper, I'm there on Instagram. Please don't like those photos.
Later on, we may have a caption this with Doug.
This is the abuse I take. So I hope everyone realizes the damage to my psyche and to my ego that happens by coming here to Historicon. So no,
I don't believe that for a second.
no, you guys have always taken such great care of us, and so it's been really good to see the evolution of the social media pieces for HMGS because traditionally, like a lot of historical wargaming or fields where a lot of the members are older, they haven't necessarily been open to the kind of things that are natural to us. Being on social media, be on multiple social media platforms, and having a variety of media out there, not just the photos of the awards being given out.
Yeah, and even then it was kind of spotty to a certain degree.
Right.
We've been trying to make sure that we coordinate really well with the awards team. I'm fortunate because of kind of where I fall in the age that I, as a Generation Xer, I was analog to start, then got into my dad was an early adopter of all of the computers and
Right.
things like that because it was with the government, and then I just naturally transitioned into this kind of work.
Well, unlike some of our gamers here, you're used to all these devices as a tool, and it's just a way to reach more people or to get the information out. And it's, I tell people that are not historical gamers or are not our generation or younger, that you have to understand what is normal to us and what is standard for us to pick up a cell phone and go, hey, what game is going on in, up in Susquehanna, or what lecture's up there? We're used to that. That's a whole different world that we're trying to move into because it hasn't been that way.
No, absolutely. And a lot of the older gamers even have been very complimentary about how tabletop events is making things a little bit easier for them.
Absolutely.
That they can go on to Facebook, they can see the games that they missed because the convention is large. It's not.
That's an understatement.
It's not.
That's her
packed and
using
club
sarcasm
large,
again.
But it's we do have a lot of gaming, and it is impossible to be on all 4 floors at the same time. So you inevitably will miss something.
We've talked about this. The things that you tell new attendees is you're going to miss games. You're going to miss games you signed up for. You're going to miss something that came out that what suddenly was added at the last minute. That there are going to be things that you're just not going to see. So the good part is y'all are putting that in the social media feed. So even if, like this morning, I nearly missed going to the game design lecture that I wanted to, well, there was a social media person there capturing some of it, getting a record of what was going on, so I can feel like I didn't totally miss everything that was going on
And
there.
that is a big part of it. It's also showing people outside of the hobby what's going on and letting them know, hey, if you're a 40K gamer,
Mhm.
they might see posts from Historicon because we're going to have there's a 40K tournament
Yes.
going on, which means they will
Not that I
see,
like you 40K people. I really don't. You're terrible. You're horrible people.
but they will see the bold action tournament, and
Right.
they'll see the showcase games that are in the lobby, and they'll be like, oh, what's that? I've seen so many of them walk out with a new bold action army
Yeah.
or some other kind of historical game along with
Well,
everything
there's
else.
a whole crossover that, whether you like it as a historical gamer or not, is there. That every single young miniatures gamer that has stood at my table and looked at airplanes and said, oh, airplanes are cool. This is neat. I asked them the question, what 40K army do you play? And then we talked for 10 minutes about 40K lore and stuff like that. They are 40K players. There are collectible card game players. Those are parts of the wider hobby that we shouldn't be trying to say don't exist. Sure, they may not be our focus of effort, but that is a point of relation, and we've talked about that where we can say, hey, this is kind of like 40K, but it's World War II, so it's bolt action, or it's like Aeronautica Imperialis, but it's World War II airplanes.
Yeah, one of the things that I've always said is you have to hit them where they are.
Mm-hmm.
I come from a RPG and fantasy background.
Right.
I'm going to be honest, wasn't very interested in the historical portion of it until I came here, and my first year I saw the Siege of Fort St. Elmo. Amazing board. They had a whole theatrical piece to it where they take pieces off of it as the thing went on. And I'm going home and I'm Googling what happened at that battle because I have no idea. Every year I see something new that is just like, oh, I need to know more about that. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be to the level where I would buy an army for some of the games.
Right.
But you're definitely piquing my interest in a way that it's difficult to do for somebody who's heavily focused in another area.
Well, we were talking about it during the solitaire game class, I guess we should call it, the presentation with Greg Smith, that a lot of us have RPG backgrounds. And so we enjoy war games where there's an investment in the character, that individual pilot, that individual commander, that general, that we enjoy an emotional investment in that because we do have that RPG background. But so many old school historical gamers don't have that because the world did kind of split in the 70s. It went, everybody had been playing something historical, and then RPGs was its own branch. And it's funny to kind of come full circle to where people ask, they're like, oh, you're playing a jet game. What about the pilot? Do they do multiple campaigns, and work through it that way?
And I mean, Flag Bearer, which is a 5e compatible RPG based in the Revolutionary War era, is here at the convention.
Oh, that's cool.
Because of the 250th and all of the the pomp and circumstance with it. It was a perfect fit. And they're running games. I know that one of my social media people was also running a game of Nations and Cannons, I believe it is. And it's a great thing to see, gamers who are more historical war gamers dipping their toe into the water. That's something a little bit more RPG based. And then you see the RPGers at like PAX Unplugged or Page when we go there, and they're like dipping their toe into a completely different pond, and they're like, ooh, I kind of like that. And
well, I tell people it's the reality of gaming is we're all going there to do something we don't do every day.
Yes.
We are not truly soldiers of the Revolutionary War or fighter pilots or fly space planes or spaceships, whatever you do. And I say we're going there to do a little bit of escapism and find what that core interest is for you. If it's the story, then there's a lot of games that are all about the story and all about the narrative. If it's the technology of something, then there's games that are all about that super secret fighter plane or that space aircraft that's the focus of it. And it's okay to not like some games. I always tell people that it's okay to go look at BattleTech and go, I don't like BattleTech. I'm an old guy. I like BattleTech.
You don't have to be an old guy to like BattleTech.
Yeah, you do. She actually likes BattleTech, but don't let her fool you.
No, I do like BattleTech. I play Alpha Strike at my local store. We also have a very big bold action contingent that has started playing, people who play Saga. It's great to see the hobby expanding locally in a lot of ways because of what's going on at like Historicon, Fallen, Cold Wars. People are seeing a whole different side of the hobby.
Well, and I tell people who are even kind of wedded to one game, like let's say BattleTech, there are so many variations on stompy robot games out there that if you want to do an RPG, there's Lancer. You could do Mech Warrior from the original BattleTech IP, but there's a lot of different games. And there's, as we've seen, there's a Heavy Cav, there's a bunch of other big stompy robot games. Find one that you like. So if you don't like the first one you play, don't give up on that part of the genre. Just go pick a different one.
Yeah, I mean,
that same...
somebody's playing Macross downstairs using the...
I'm leaving now. I'm going to run off the street and I'm going to go watch that game. No, I love Macross stuff. So
yeah, they're running it with the Fistful of Lead Starfighters, which is a really good gaming system if you want to do a lot of different eras. You can more or less the same system with some tweaks for, for the rules to fit whatever flavor you're trying to do.
Nice.
But it lets you have flexibility, and you don't have to learn a whole new rule set every time you start a new game.
Well, and that is the beauty of certain common rule sets, whether it's like Black Powder, where Pike and Shot, Black Powder, all those kind of build on each other, and you're like, oh, good, I can change eras and not totally change rule sets. It's a very similar.
Well, that's been a thing
format.
For when we're trying to figure out what to bring to like PAX Unplugged or our page or something like that. Something that can be adapted by the person who already has a whole bunch of D&D figures, or they have a whole bunch of sci-fi figures, and it's like, well, here you can use this game to do this, and then you can kind of start going over and maybe
join the dark side.
I wouldn't say dark side. You guys can be a little pushy sometimes, not gonna lie.
You all out there in the interweb land know not at all. Yes, very much.
But it's a wonderful way to kind of expand the hobby. Everybody's going to find something that they like you said, not everything is going to be your particular brand, but you can find something that you enjoy. Even
in the vendor hall here, there are so many indie games that go across the spectrum of different topics, and there's ones like Trilitarium that are multiple eras, multiple interest things that you really, if you have a lore or storyline or era that you like and you say, I can't find a game, you aren't looking hard enough, because there's options out here that I've never even cracked the book on that are out there.
My boyfriend and I like to say we're a rule set group now. Like, we do, don't get me wrong, I love a good mini. I buy a lot, I print a lot. Well, actually, he prints a lot, but at the end of the day, I live in an apartment, so there's a limited amount of space.
Limit the amount of space.
The rule becomes, what can you find that will fit in the space? And the answer is a new rule book, and then you can reuse the same stuff over and over and over again.
Yeah, and being, I'll call it ambiscalar. People say, no, I've got to play bolt action in 28 mil. Well, if you already have a Flames army, play bolt action in 15 mil. Don't necessarily jump off into a whole new army and more space to do everything.
I will say that for some people, adapting a rule set in any way, shape, or form is a little bit...
It hurts them.
Not even hurts. It's a daunting task, because you're like, what do I have to change? And if somebody hasn't already done the work for you, then you're like, I don't know if I'm capable of doing this. Not all of us are war game designers.
Well, and there is a thread with, I will say, the older war game community that we grew up playing games that the rules weren't very clear, and they weren't necessarily well written or well play tested, and so we're used to home ruling things, and there is I will say a generational divide to people who've been able and blessed to be able to go out and buy board games about anything, and they're expecting a product that is a complete product, and I'm like, well, why wouldn't you just change the game you're already playing? But to them, they're like, no, I would buy a different game in that scale.
Yeah, it's similar to doing optional rules. BattleTech has the rules that you more or less, they say you have to play with, but then there's, the optional rules for weather and everything else. For our Alpha Strike, we, cut out some of the really crunchy parts so that we can enjoy
Crunchy in BattleTech? No, not at all.
I know. No, it's something that is very engaging. To be able to just do various different
various with the same rule set, various setups, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I know what you're saying. We've done it with Aeronautica, where you're making a mission that isn't a standard game mission. You're saying, I want to do search and rescue, but how am I going to do that in BattleTech? There's not a scenario set for that, you know.
Yeah. And a
Adding all that
scenario is
in.
a good place to start for
Yep.
doing something specific. And, you know, you can dip your toe in the water and then you're like, oh, I did a scenario. Now
Yeah.
I can make additional changes.
Well, and that's the thing is if you're comfortable changing a game scenario, you're going to add a house rule in that anyway for whatever situation. Don't feel like you can't change the rest of the game rules, and just see what your group likes. When we play Aeronautica in our Taxila campaign, there's things we do that are not per the GW rules. And why do we do it that way? Because we've decided this is how our group's going to play it, you know, and it's fun to do that.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for coming on the stream. Thanks for
Not a
chatting
problem.
about wargaming and all those things. Anything you want the viewers and the listeners out there to know for Historicon 2026?
Basically, follow the social media. You are going to get to see all the things that you're missing. To those of you who couldn't come this year, please join us at Fallen, at Cold Wars, and obviously Historicon next year. Keep an eye on our social media. We're going to be trying to roll out a more robust between the convention's presence.
Good.
You know, looking to get into more video and other things. So, you know, you're going to see a lot of new stuff. So keep an eye out.
Okay. The only question I have, is this the best historical miniatures gaming venue right here? Historicon in the convention center.
I am not going to answer that
She
question.
won't.
You know what happens.
She's
when
not.
you do
She's
that.
not going to fall for that. All right. Well,
Nice try.
I'm gonna throw the vote out here that it is. That I do love being up at. It's now the Wyndham. Always have to try to think about it. But I love this convention center. I love this setup. I love. Steve and I were talking about food within 100 yards. There's Southern Market food court. We were walking up past a couple of the other food courts and restaurants. You guys have got a great spot. Do not let people make you give it up. Please.
It is a great spot. I do adore the amount of, you know, food options and everything like that. But as we know, every venue has its has its good, its bad.
Challenges, we'll call them.
It's about finding the best fit for most of the people.
Absolutely.
And I think we found a very good fit here.
You guys have. So thanks for being on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right.
Ooh.
See you.